That's not possible.
You said she was gone.
I watched her die. We have a mission to focus on. We can talk about this later. Lights on. Frederick, get us back on course for central control.
Bringing up schematics. There's an elevator we can use, but access is 4 levels down.
Mark up.
Hello everyone, my name is Rob, I'm from the Insane Gamers. This is part 4 of Halo 5 Guardians, part 2 of the level Blue Team, and this part level is called that Fair and Warlike Form. I already started doing this video and then it started going out of sync, so I've restarted my PC and hopefully that will fix the issue. This PC is basically foobarred. I think. Like, I'm gonna have to update this at some point. Like, I restarted it and bloody command prompt opened on startup. Like, as soon as the desktop loaded. And then, like, the AMD driver update is apparently running in the background. My printer's apparently trying to contact Canon because that's how you get the bloody drivers to install. You need to have it needs to tell Canon how many times you scan and print each day, which I think is a bit, like, you don't need to know that information, Canon. You don't need to know that at all. But apparently they do for the driver to even be installed. Now, in this part of the level, I do die a few times. Not here, but later on, because there is an elite with active camo, and I wasn't expecting it because no one shouted it out. No one in the AI didn't shout it out. And I also had this giant. Well, I'm gonna load up the things I've been talking about on Reddit. I had it open and I was having a discussion, but I kind of obviously I had to restart the PC, so it went away. Just what we were talking about. The first thing was, of course, is that Don Rickles died a couple of days ago. I believe he was 90 years old, and he was the voice of Mr. Potato Head in the Toy Story movies, and I grew up with the Toy Story movies, specifically 1 and 2. And obviously I ended up watching Toy Story 3 when it came out. So this is obviously a big shock to me, because he will always be the voice of Mr. Potato Head, and I wonder how they're going to deal with that, because they hadn't scripted Toy Story 4. I just hope that they don't do Toy Story 4, like they just kind of stop pre-production on it. Someone did suggest for his voice of basically having Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head swap their mouth over whenever he wants to talk. So it will be her, what she'll be speaking, but because it's her lips. But yeah, I think that's a good idea. This is the room where the bloody elite comes in, and you'll notice how I'm very careful now, because the first time I wasn't expecting it. And because the elite came in and just instantly killed me, no one was able to revive me. It's really sad though, because a lot of people have died in the last year. I mean, there's a lot of people that died in 2016, and there's a reason for that. That it's basically, if you think about it, think of all the like the celebrities are obviously getting older now, and you know, if you, I mean, obviously it's done online now, but if you look in the, like, if you look in newspapers, of course, in old newspapers, we'll be talking about like jazz musicians and old Hollywood celebrities and radio stars, and then even further back, theatre stars. I decided to add this little music in the background. I did speed this up, because I ended up taking about 3 minutes to fix, but I wanted to leave that in because it happened in part 1 of this. Anyway, so part 3. But I actually found out that the voice of Slinky Dog died. basically, in Toy Story 1 and 2, there was the voice of Slinky Dog was Jim Varney. And it says something to the imitator that was the voice of Slinky Dog in Toy Story 3 and all the little short films that came after it. Blake Cart, who was a very good friend of his that I didn't even realise. And amazingly, the audio and video is also getting slightly out of sync here. The movement of the... I don't know if I think I explained it, but I restarted my PC basically because of the audio and video getting out of sync here, because the... How can I describe this? There's like I record the audio for this in Vegas instead of in Audacity, which is what I use for everything else. I use that for live Let's Plays, and basically the meter that moves along on playback is about, I don't know, about half a second in front of the audio that's shown up, but when it starts, it shows up right level, like it's supposed to be. So something is being messed up here, but it shouldn't be, because I just restarted the PC. So nothing should be messed up. But I really do think that all these updates are messing it up. Literally, there's nothing running. Oh, well I really do hate Windows 10. So, if you don't know about Windows, a thing that Microsoft put in, they started it with Windows 8, and they put it in Windows 10 as well. And it's absolutely dumb. So, your PC is technically always in a sleep mode unless you switch it off at the back, like the power supply. Or if you leave it for 2 days. So if you leave it overnight, your PC never actually technically switches off. So apparently, according to the performance meter, I honestly did restart my PC, because literally 1% of, not 1%, 1 gig of 8 gig of my memory is being used, and 25% of my CPU is being used, and let's just say normally after about 6 hours of use, this is running at like 80% memory and 80% CPU. But it says my uptime is now 2 days. Because I did leave my PC off for a couple of days, so that must have reset the counter. But the past couple of days, of course, I've been using it because I've been doing the videos the day before. So that might have something to do with it. God, I hate Windows 10. Because when you restart your PC, you know what should happen? Your PC should fully go off and it should reset everything inside. I shouldn't have the uptime be 2 days and 21 hours. That is complete bullshit. There was something else I was going to talk about as well. I started talking about it and then I decided to restart my PC because it was all getting completely messed up. It stopped recording. Like, it stopped recording for like 5 seconds and then continued on. So I restarted it. Basically, we were having this was in discussion about the Blair Witch Project, which I've never seen that movie. I don't really like horror movies, but someone basically, let me get the conversation, the context here. Thank God for Reddit having that context button. Someone was basically saying, oh, you know, if you show a horror movie to a kid, it probably won't mess them up that bad. And then someone put, my dad and brother let me watch Terminator when I was 6 and it scared the ever-loving shit out of me, but at the same time it sparked my imagination and made me develop a lifelong love for science fiction. And then someone replied, I watched Jurassic Park and Alien as a kid and it never occurred to me that they were supposed to be scary. And then someone replied, and they've got heavily downvoted, they've put, how is Jurassic Park scary? And then we had this whole discussion, a lot of people had this discussion. And I joined in. And basically, this is showing how old I am. VHS tapes. A lot of you on the internet will not, because a lot of people on the internet are kids, you will not know what VHS tapes are. You may have seen them in a thrift store or a charity store or whatever. You may have seen them in your parents' attic, but you will never have had to handle them. And by all accounts, VHS tapes were absolutely terrible. Video quality wise, they were about 240p. They were awful. But to me, even though I grew up right when DVDs came out, I was born the year the DVDs came out. And we got our first DVD player when I was about 6, so that would have been about 2002. We were the first people on our street to get it. First people on our street to get a DVD player. And up until about 2004, so yeah. Shrek 2 was the first DVD that I ever had that was a kids film. We had DVDs before that, obviously, but they were more, like Terminator and stuff like that. That were like adult movies, I guess. I did originally want to say adult movies, but I didn't want people to think porn, obviously. Like Terminator, Alien, all them. We had them on DVD, but obviously I was never allowed to watch them. But the first kids movie that we had was Shrek 2. Beforehand, it was VHS all the way for me, because it's a lot easier to use a VHS tape as a kid than it is a DVD player. But I did mention this in the thing. People were like, how the hell did you use a VHS tape when you were 4 years old? Surely your parents would have had to switch the input on the TV or whatever. No, actually. I'm surprised America didn't do this, because it's amazing. And it looks like the audio and video are getting even more out of sync. I really do apologise. I'm gonna stop recording and start again, but that is getting even worse. There will have been a bit here, because I noticed how it happened, where the audio just stopped, and then it either cut or I sped up. So if that happened, I do apologise. I'm going to stop recording here and I'm going to carry on. Right, so the audio and video are now in sync completely. In fact, that the meter is in front of the actual recording. That doesn't even make sense. But that's how it's supposed to be. So I assume it's going to go out of sync again at some point. But and if that happens, I do apologise. But I'm trying to solve the issue. Anyway, Americans were complaining. How did you... Well, they were saying, how did you understand how to use a VCR as a kid, as a 4-year-old, because surely that would be complicated. Someone would have to press the input button for you. No, in Europe we had the SCART standard, and I died at some point here, and you're going to see that clearly happen. There was nothing I could do to edit around it, because it was I died in the Banshee, and you can't be revived from that. So it's a clear cut, and I do apologise, but it happened. Anyway, so in Europe we had the SCART standard, and I believe Gavin Free from Rooster Teeth did talk about this at one point on one of the podcasts. But and Bernie and all them were like, oh my god, that sounds great. I don't know why in America we didn't have that. No, in America they switched to composite. Well, that was the connector that they started using. But in Europe we had composite, but we also had SCART, and it came out at exactly the same time. But it was amazing because it had basically it was HDMI, but for standard definition. It was all one cable, audio, video, one cable, and instant switching. So if you if you turn something on, it would instantly switch it on the TV screen. So you didn't have to worry about the input button. Of course, there was an input button for composite and all that as well on remotes. But it had other stuff as well. It had relays. So if you had a cable box connected to the TV, you did not also have to connect that to the VCR to record it, because obviously that was before we had DVRs like we do now. We had to record stuff on VHS tape. So the VCR could communicate through the TV to the cable box to find out the TV schedule. It's kind of amazing. And I'm surprised you in America did not have that. Like, in America you had to deal with timers and shit. We did not. It was really pretty cool. So, the VCR that we had the same model of TV, the same brand of TV and VCR. So the TV remote even had controls for the VCR on it. That was pretty cool. Obviously that didn't happen a lot. That only happened when the same products are the same brand, with the same brand. So, if that makes any sense. Anyway, so I love the Jurassic Park movies now, but at the time, Jurassic Park scared the ever-living shit out of me, because I remember I was 4. So when I did this, so I probably thought that it was like Barney, which it was not. So my parents had Jurassic Park 1 and 2. Jurassic Park 3 was either in cinemas at the time, because it wasn't out on VHS or DVD. And all the Jurassic, and I love Jurassic World now as well. I don't really like Jurassic Park 3, but the first 2 I'm alright with. I really do like them. Even after this experience. If you don't know, the UK age rating symbols are U, PG, 12, 15 and 18. U and PG basically work like G and PG in America. But a lot of the time, PG-13 stuff from the States can get into the U or PG categories. And a lot of the time, the early 80s PG stuff will get into the 15 or 12 categories today. For example, Jaws or Indiana Jones. And the Temple of Doom specifically. So, Jurassic Park 2, or The Lost World, or whatever you want to call it. I believe that is PG-13 in the States. Over here, it was the PG. And that means 6 and up. But a lot of the time, parents don't really care because they're going to be watching with kids. And it even stated on the back of VHS tapes, watch for the first time with your kid, and then they'll probably be able to, or the first couple of times with your kid, and then afterwards they'll probably be able to deal with it. But so at the time I knew what like the age ratings were, so I probably thought, well, U and PG, they're fine for me. Anything older, I can't do that. Or I really have to will watch that with my parents. Well, my parents, well, my dad was probably at work and my mum was probably washing up or something. Because this was probably after school. And it was probably preschool programs I was probably watching at that point. You know, Barney and whatever. Barney the dinosaur, which is where this probably comes in. And I probably saw the dinosaur on the front cover, and I liked dinosaurs at the time, and I probably thought, well, it might be a bit like Barney. Because it's only a PG, it can't be that scary. Well, I don't know if you've ever saw the beginning of The Lost World Jurassic Park, because I did not understand the concept of sequels back then. I didn't understand them at all. I just thought, well, it's a movie. It doesn't really matter. So I put The Lost World in. The beginning of The Lost World is there's a 6-year-old girl, and she's with her parents on the island that all the dinosaurs at the end of Jurassic Park, the first one, go to. Although I did not know this at the time. Because again, I had not watched the first Jurassic Park. I had only, it was the first time I was watching it. I probably saw the tape, was like, I'm interested in watching the movie right now. TV was probably on, CBeebies or CBBC was on. Decided to watch it. Started watching it, put the tape in, started watching it. Probably ended up watching the Mercedes commercial, because there was a Mercedes commercial at the beginning of the tape. I do remember that. Because product placement of Mercedes in the movie, so they had the Mercedes commercial at the beginning of the tape. Don't know why I'm remembering that, but I do remember that. Anyway, put it in. Girl decides to walk away from parents. They're like, oh, don't go far. Finds literally little baby Velociraptor, I think. Might not have been, but I think it was. And she's like, oh, look, that's cute. Goes to pet it. Velociraptor literally, I can't remember if it bites a finger or if it bites her toe, but it does that, and I believe it. I can't remember if it actually does that or if it was my imagination, but I'm pretty sure that it bites the finger off or the toe off. One of the two. And then a whole bunch of them come out of a bush, because it was in a bush, and start attacking her. And never before have I gone, nope, and ejected the tape. Never before have I ever turned a movie off so quick. I was 4 years old, and that scared the ever-living shit out of me. So a lot of people voted that for some reason. As a story. So yeah, Jurassic Park can be scary to a little kid. But you know what? At one point, I might have been 3. I don't know. My dad brought a tape in that he might have bought at a store. Obviously would have bought it at a store, because it was a legit tape. I did have some pirated tapes that, like, older cousins that knew how to pirate stuff had given me. I had Shrek. Shrek was a pirated tape. And I believe my favourite movie might have been as well, The Emperor's New Groove. I love that. But looking back at, like, I didn't even realise the kid, but, like, looking back, I found the tape when I was 12 and I was like, this must have been a pirated tape. Because the audio and video has gone out of sync again, which is a shame. But it's near the end, so I'm not going to bother dealing with it. But looking at it, it had a plain white, like, cover on it without Disney put holograms on them to say if it was pirated. It didn't have that on it. And the fact that the beginning literally cut into the end of the anti-piracy commercial should have clued me in. My Monsters Inc. tape was real though, because that was blue as an anti-piracy measure, and it was blue. And the Rugrats tape was orange. The Rugrats movie. Anyway, yeah, my dad must have brought in. I've had this tape as long as I can remember. I don't have it anymore, but it was Small Soldiers. The Joe Dante movie, which is also PG-13 in the States, but no, Britain, oh, yep, we'll give it PG. And I must have watched that with my parents at some point, because I was not scared of that. I don't remember watching it for the first time, but I do remember really enjoying it as a kid. And I even had the toys, and if you don't know what that is about, basically there are some good toys that are basically alien type things, and there are bad toys, which are basically like Action Man or G.I. Joe type figures. Action Man was basically the UK title for G.I. Joe. They use the same mold. Yeah, the bad toys are the G.I. Joe figures, and they come alive, and at one point they tie a 6-year-old up and hide him in a closet so he can't escape. And at the end, they destroy basically an entire house by using common household objects. And it's basically from the creators of Gremlins, Joe Dante. And I love Joe Dante movies now, and I think Small Soldiers may have been the catalyst for that. But yeah, I'm surprised I was not scared by that, because I had the freaking toys, and they were the bad ones as well. They were the Commando Elite. It's actually where my old game tag kid from XCC Chip has it. Before I changed it to Insane Games, Rob. So now you know that. Anyway, it's getting towards the end of the video. I do apologise about the audio syncing issues, and I also do apologise about the lag that I've noticed. That might just be a thing that happens in Vegas, because I am running at best quality instead of like preview quality, which can lag the PC out sometimes. So actually I should probably see if that's an issue next time I record, see if it deal if that fixes the audio video issue. Anyway, there's a cutscene coming up, so I've been Rob, I've been from the Insane Gamers. Thank you very much for watching. And
Clear.
hurrah!
Time, Linda.
89 seconds.
Sierra 117 to Infinity. Argent Moon scuttled. I've reassigned Blue Team. Destination Meridian. Potential contact from Cortana.
Negative 117. Another team is already being prepped to deal with her.
What the hell?
You're to return to Infinity immediately.
Negative, Infinity. I don't like it.
Whoever they are, let's get to Meridian before they do.
Kelly, no.
No need to do this by yourself, Chief.
They won't court-martial all of us, right?